Hello, Ghana. Welcome to ABC News Ghana. The democratic pulse for the nation beats steadily as Ghana waits with bated breath for the moment that will alter the political history in the December 7 election. The fate of technically 12 presidential candidates with 4 independent candidates all contesting on the ticket of 9 political parties. 111 independent parliamentary candidates across a total of 276 constituencies will be determined as voters head to the 40,648 polling stations. The stakes are indeed high as two sons of the North clash in a fierce contest. One wants to return while the other seeks to be retained. Who has the odds in his favor? I am Eric Chinibwa Mello and you're welcome to Election Tonight. Tonight we will scrutinize and analyze every data, query the polls and dart our laser focus eyes through every seemingly insignificant numbers in every region and constituencies. And we bring you a 360 regional update with our correspondent. We seek to ask, will Greater Accra be the decider in the elections after the 2 main political parties concluded their rallies here in the regional capital? Stay with us tonight and allow me and Justina in the Studio A bring you the trends and the polls, and Abena in Studio B as the captain of the ship to steer the show on an expected end. This is the Poll Center and we are live on ABC News Ghana. Good evening, Ghana. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening. You're welcome to Election Tonight here on ABC News GH. We are your poll center, your guide to credible elections. We are glad to come your way this evening on the eve of elections. Tomorrow, Ghanaians go to the polls to determine for Ghana who leads the nation and who becomes the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, and also who represents us in Parliament. A very crucial elections that everybody is looking forward to. Tonight we will be analyzing everything about the elections before tomorrow comes. We have so many guests who will be passing through to share their expertise with us on everything elections, from economics to the elections, everything about it, to governance and everything that pertains to our lives as Ghanaians. You don't want to miss this at all. My colleagues are also on standby to bring us some data analysis, social media conversations and everything. So it is really a 360 conversation today on the Poll Center. You do not want to miss it at all. Here at the Poll Center, we advocate for votes and not violence. So when you go on social media and you see the hashtag votes not violence, it is because we are telling you that as you head into the elections, the only thing that matters is your thumb. Nothing else but your thumb. When you go and cast your vote, please come back home. We will be bringing you everything here on ABC News GH. Come home and follow the elections from here. Don't allow yourself to be used as a tool or a conduit for any form of violence as we enter into the elections. Mind you, every 4 years, Ghana goes to the polls. Don't do anything in 2024 that will undermine your voting in 2028. We implore you that you keep the peace that we enjoy in Ghana, because the peace of Ghana hinges on you and I. And so this is why we tell you, votes not violence. This is Election Tonight right here on ABC News GH, and I am Abena Mante. The president addressed the nation earlier tonight. Before we get into our conversations here, we want to listen to what the president had to tell Ghanaians as we head to the polls.
It is an individual and collective responsibility. Go and vote. You owe it to Ghana and to yourself. I thank you for your attention, and may God bless us all and our homeland Ghana, and make her great and strong.
Welcome back, Election Tonight, where we are providing in-depth analysis on the eve of election coverage. The president has spoken to Ghanaians. We are not just live here on ABC News GH, we are live on MX24, so you can be watching us on both channels. We're also live on YouTube. The channel is ABC News GH. When you get on YouTube, subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications so that you're updated with everything happening here on ABC News GH. We'll be speaking with our correspondents from the Volta region. We all know what happened in the Volta region. The EC says that it will be doing everything it can to work with the Ghana Police Service and the Election Task Force to make sure that our elections are credible. The EC has drummed home credible elections since this work started, that they will be fair, they will be transparent, and they will be credible in the elections. So everything that has happened, the EC says that even though one of its electoral officers breached the policy by transporting election materials in a private vehicle without police escort, it will not compromise tomorrow's elections in the Afajatu South constituency. The EC has said this. My colleague and the Volta regional correspondent, Kofi Gamo, will be speaking with us soon on this development. But we have with us some guests in the studio. We will be engaging. We have a governance expert. Elections is all about governance, so we will engage him and understand what we need to understand. We also have with us an economist. This election, many CSOs have said that hinges on certain things, and one of the factors that the election hinges on is economy. The economy, the Ghanaian economy. So many conversations about the economy. So today we'll break it down, and like we've told you on the Poll Center, we'll understand the nuances around all of the elections. So you want to stay with us and stay tuned so that you understand everything we are doing here. I'm not doing this alone. My colleagues are on standby. Eric Melo Cheneboa, Samuel Nimagbo, and Justina Latte are doing this with me here on Election Tonight, and you don't want to miss out on all of the analysis we will be bringing you. Like I said earlier, not just analysis, but also social media reactions. Social media has been abuzz with conversations about the elections. Tomorrow we will find out who becomes the leader of our nation after we have voted. So we'll be speaking with Kofi Gamo too, and then we'll speak with him. But today I have with me Dr. Frederick Ojo, who is a governance expert. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you, Abna.
And I have Professor Patrick Isumeng, who is an economist. Prof, you're also welcome.
Thank you. Good evening and good evening to viewers.
Yes, we've been speaking with them so many times on conversations. Today we have them here. Let me take your first thoughts on our elections, everything, the lead up to the elections. Dr. Joe, how has it been so far? What has been your thoughts about the electoral process so far?
I think, by and large, we've come from a place. And if you go back to our elections in 1982 until now, there's been significant improvement in our electoral processes. Of course, elections are run by human beings. Every now and then they keep making mistakes. Again, we devised for ourselves an electoral management body which is supposed to be independent. So we look over time. The Electoral Commission has sought to play up their independence, and they don't want other institutions to have or exercise any control. So every now and then, various electoral commissions over the years have had challenges, but particularly the opposition party. It's strange that it's only the opposition party that tends to attack the Electoral Commission. You know my views. I've always felt if the EC does something wrong, let us take the pen. I mean, people have taken the Electoral Commission to court, and the court has ruled against the Electoral Commission. So it's not as if they have unbridled power. Again, we fashioned for ourselves a system in the IPAC, the Party Advisory Committee, that helps the Electoral Commission and key stakeholders in our elections to come together to discuss issues. Of course, the IPAC does not have any authority over the Electoral Commission, but it's an avenue for them to go and discuss issues, trash out disagreements, find common grounds, and work. I believe, by and large, we've done well by ourselves. If you look at our electoral process, I mean, on paper, it's very transparent.
Okay.
I believe this election has gone better. Yes, there have been challenges here and there, but the good thing is that we've always succeeded in finding ways to overcome the challenges.
Okay. We've found ways of overcoming the challenges. Doc, I'll come back to you. Professor May, let's say from your side as an economist, looking at things through the lenses of our economy and all, and how our economy influences our elections, how has it been so far from where you sit?
Well, I think you could tell from the messaging of the parties that the economy is playing a major role in this election cycle. I think there's been a lot of focus on jobs, there's been a lot of focus on the youth, and there's a lot of focus on what to do to improve the functioning of the economy. So it just tells you that, and the currency, of course, but I think it tells you, survival is a very important instinct, and to the extent of how our economy has been in recent times, I think it also shows you how important it is. But we have to say, jobs have always played a very important role in Ghanaian elections, and this year's election is not going to be different. I just hope that Ghanaians, as we've done in the past, we will go about our voting peacefully and make sure that, like we are preaching, we go, vote, come home, and stay, and then when the results are declared, the person that the majority of Ghanaians have chosen, we just have to get on with it.
So that's why votes not violence. But these elections haven't started just from 2024. We've come a long way from 2023 last year. Political parties started the campaign about who will lead the nation. 13 people on the ballot paper, but two stand out. The two major parties, the duopoly in our nation, determined that they would lead the nation. We've put together a report we know you would love here at ABC News GH. Let's take a watch.
Enough of slavery. I don't mention anyone's name when I speak because they're too cheap for me to mention their names. They are shameful old leaders. They're not my level. I will not even give them the credit. I will not mention their names. But you know this young man. When I roll my sleeves, listen, I will take up the tie, I will get on the road, and I'll get the job done.
The 2024 elections in Ghana is shaping up to be truly historic, not just in a competitive sense, but for the unique twists and turns that set it apart from every election we've seen in the past. Even before political parties chose their flag bearers, analysts were already buzzing about how this election would break the mold. And they were right. Ghana's 32-year democratic journey has seen 8 elections, but none quite like this. For the first time, both leading candidates of the two main political parties, from the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress hail from the northern region. It's also the first time a former president is squaring off against a sitting vice president. And if that wasn't enough, there's the real possibility of a strong third force making waves, threatening to shake up the political landscape even more. For the NPP, 2024 is about more than just winning. It's about making history. The party has its sights, a mission to secure a third consecutive term, something no party has achieved under Ghana's Fourth Republic. This moment is especially significant given the sting of their 2008 defeat when they last tried to extend their mandate. The NPP kicked off its journey toward this goal by opening nominations for presidential aspirants from May 26 to June 24, 2023. Out of the 10 candidates who filed, 5 advanced after the first round of voting on August 26. But things weren't all smooth sailing. Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, a key figure in the party and a former trade minister under President Akufo-Addo, exited the race and the party after the first round. He claimed the primaries were anything but free and fair, accusing the establishment of favoring Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. His departure highlighted growing cracks within the NPP, with many worried they would deepen before the final primaries. The November 3 showdown between Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Kennedy Agyapong didn't disappoint. Dr. Bawumia clinched the victory with 61.47% of the votes, while Kennedy Agyapong secured 37.41%. Despite the heated contest, the NPP emerged with an ununified front. Both candidates struck a conciliatory tone, rallying their supporters behind the party's larger goal of breaking the 8.
That ambition requires the participation of all the aspirants, including my good friend Honorable Kennedy Ohene Agyapong, who really wanted to give me a showdown today.
Put everything behind us and let's unite this party. With unity, I believe we can break the 8.
Meanwhile, for the NDC, the stakes in the 2024 elections couldn't be higher. Analysts warn that a loss this time could push the party into a tougher battle for relevance in future elections. Recognizing this, the NDC wasted no time in setting its course. As early as February 2023, the party opened nominations to elect its flag bearer. Unlike the drama seen in the NPP primaries, the NDC's process was straightforward. Former President John Mahama's only rival, Dr. Kwabena Dufour, bowed out just before the contest, clearing the way for Mahama to secure the position unopposed. But Mahama isn't the only new face or old rival on the political scene. Alan Kyerematen, after leaving the NPP, swiftly launched the Movement for Change, a fresh political platform he hopes will disrupt the traditional two-party dominance. Adding to the intrigue, business magnate Nana Kwame Bediako, popularly known as Cheddar, entered the fray in January 2024 with a new force, a movement aimed at reshaping Ghana's political landscape and challenging the status quo. By the end of January 2024, the field was set. Alongside traditional parties like Hassan Ayarga's APC, the stage was primed for what could be Ghana's most contested election yet. With their campaign machinery in full swing, John Mahama embarked on his ambitious Building Ghana tour. Along the way, he unveiled nearly 60 policy proposals, including the much-discussed 24-hour economy initiative, sparking widespread debate and attention.
This is the 24-hour economic clock. One job, 3 shifts, 3 people. 1, 3, 3. One job, 3 shifts, 3 people. Obiabe Didi.
On December 7, all eyes will be on the nation, and ABC News Ghana Television will be your trusted election guide. Welcome to the Poll Center, where we bring you the most comprehensive 2024 general elections coverage.
At ABC News Ghana, we will deliver up-to-the-minute updates from across the 40,647 polling stations, ensuring that you stay informed every step of the way.
We'll bring you real-time updates from constituencies with the highest stakes and insight into the key battlegrounds.
Our team of political watchdogs, pollsters, and political scientists will break down the nuances in the swing regions, helping you understand the dynamics of these critical areas.
With correspondents and district reporters spread across the country, we rest assured all the timely report of turn of events as they unfold.
On the Poll Center, we'll bring you an excellent television experience with advanced graphic presentation that will give you a clear visual of the vote tallies, trends, and key turning points as they unfold live on screen.
ABC News Ghana will provide you with in-depth analysis of voter pattern shifts, regional shifts, and what the early results could mean for the final outcome of the elections.
From voting challenges to disputes over election results, ensuring our viewers understand the legal landscape.
On social media, we'll bring you live updates and key highlights from the polling stations, keeping you engaged and informed with the latest developments online.
From the streets to the polling centers, we will capture the voices of everyday Ghanaians, hear their thoughts and concerns as they cast their ballots.
ABC News is committed to unbiased, accurate, and in-depth coverage. Join us on the Poll Center for the most reliable 2024 election coverage.
Stay tuned, stay informed, stay with the Poll Center right here on ABC News Ghana Television, your election guide to the polls.
Watching election tonight right here on ABC News GH. We are your Poll Center, your guide to credible elections. But how crucial is this 2024 elections to you at home, the voter? Over 18 million voters getting into the elections. How crucial is this elections? Let me come to you, Professor Main. From an economist's point of view, this election hinging on our economy, how crucial is it and different from all the other elections we've had under this republic?
I think it's absolutely crucial. I think the Ghanaian economy has suffered some of its worst crisis in memory. And how we go forward from here is absolutely crucial. And so, the two leading parties have put forward their own visions by way of their manifestos. But I think every Ghanaian knows how the challenges that we faced, and it's very important that we decisively take measures beyond this election to address the challenges that we've had. The economy hasn't been done so well recently, and we also need to, we need to change directions. We need to change how we finance the economy. We need to change how we raise revenue. We need to change, many things. Now, don't forget we've done a debt exchange, but if you look at how we, especially the external debt exchange, part of what we've done is to postpone a lot of our repayment and kick our problems down the line. So it's very important that we take decisive action to ensure that by the time we have to pay all our debts in full, we are ready. So I think it's absolutely important, you know, and the vision
to take decisive actions. If you were prescribing one decisive action we should take so that our economy can turn around, what will that be?
Have a plan. I think, you know, we seem to be on autopilot. The way we've run our economy since independence, we seem to be have been on autopilot, and then we are being blown left and right, here and there. You always hear people say our economy is subject to a lot of shocks. Where do those shocks come from? Because we have run an economy that is so exposed, that is extremely dependent on foreign financing, that's completely dependent on importation of goods and services. So every little thing that happens in the global economy affects us. So I think we need to have a plan, a longer term plan on how we are going to reshape the economy and turn it away from overdependence on foreign financing, and also begin to expand our production and make sure that some of the things that we are importing that we really shouldn't be importing, we begin to take decisive action on that. So that is having a long-term plan that captures the most important challenges that the economy faces and how we are going to solve it going forward. I think that's very crucial.
Well, we need to have a plan and change direction. One crucial thing you have said.
Exactly, change the direction where the economy is going. We need to change direction. I think we can't continue to run an economy where we finance simply by borrowing. You know, don't forget that thankfully we have the two people who are leading the charge who, you know, have accused each other of just relying on borrowing. So now I think, you know, having experienced it, I'm sure both of them will realize that now it's time to change course. We can't keep doing what we've been doing before.
Well, that's Professor Patrick Isumin saying that we can't keep doing what we've been doing before. Dr. Joe, you've been very vocal about the governance of the country, especially with the issues that came up from the declaration of vacancies in Parliament. You haven't held back on what you have said. We're entering into these elections, which is crucial from a governance standpoint. How important is it that we get it right as we get into the elections?
It's extremely important. I've told you on this network that I wish whichever party wins the presidency should have good enough majority, because the experiment we've had in 2020 has shown us that our democracy is very weak. Our political parties are inward-looking. They are only interested in their parochial interest. They are never interested in the national cause. So I will pray, if I have been praying that whichever president we get from whichever party should have a good majority that can allow the country to go on. But let's just add something to what Prof said. Prof, permit me to venture into your field, because it's an important economic point. One of the things we should be doing as a country is to institutions. They were not set up to help us, especially from where we come from. But our leaders, the continuous failure of our leaders, lead us back to them. And they give us prescription that never helped us. I mean, back in the 80s, Ghana was started as a star pupil of the IMF and the World Bank. What came of it? All the states industries were sold out, privatized. As if privatization was the solution to all our problems. So I would add to Prof's point, the plan we must have should begin with stopping our over-reliance on the West or the East, for that matter. Well, none of them care about us. The French, the English, the Americans, the Chinese, and the Russians, they don't care about us. We should begin to think of ourselves. And our leaders should look to themselves. As Prof indicated, we need a long-term plan, not NDC MPP plan. That has never solved any of our problems. And we need to support the Ghanaian. You see, sometimes I wish Ghanaians were stealing much of our money. Because whatever they do, they'll spread it around and let a lot remain here. But when we give our monies to foreign bodies, I mean, you go for loans from the French or the Chinese, they'll bring their experts to come and siphon considerable amount of that money. They'll tell you to import their own vehicles and equipment to come and undertake your program. And at the end of the day, whatever they give to you, you send back to them, and they keep you in debt. So we should never trust them. And having a long-term plan demands our major political parties to stop being parochial. We should put in place a plan that is for Ghanaians. We should put Ghanaians at the economic heights of the country so that Ghanaians can do better. I will tell you one road, Thomas's Union Road. It was constructed by a Ghanaian, Ashanti. Although now they are trying to fix portions of that road. But that road has been there for over 30 years. And people want to tell me that foreigners can do our roads better. It's a lie. I've seen in Akwadum, there is a bridge in Akwadum, which was constructed by the PWD, Public Works Department, Ghanaians. And that bridge is over, I mean, now it's about 70 years old. I'm not saying it is, but it's usable. That was constructed by Ghanaians.
So you
in
give our
Ghana.
money to the Ghanaian.
Let us support the Ghanaian. What we are interested in, you see, we let Ghanaians fund. Where the Ghanaians are involved, we allow them to fund some of the projects, and they bring in foreigners to come and do it. At the end of the day, we don't learn anything out of it. Monies are repatriated from our system. Our currency cannot stand. These are the challenges. So, forgive me for venturing into the area.
Oh, please.
But this is, I mean, a professor of economics who are mine. But this is something that bothers me. We are not allowing Ghanaians to be in charge of the economy of Ghana. If we do that, it will be better. So don't trust the Bretton Woods institutions.
Okay. We are not allowing Ghanaians to be in charge of the economy. Prof, coming to you, we are still under the IMF program. The various political parties, especially the two major political parties, have said a lot about this IMF we are in, looking at restructuring our system, our economy, and all, our fiscal environment, and all. When in this issue, we've received the third tranche of the money. We have deficits, and that keeps ballooning, going up. Our debt stock is also high. Our governments are talking about, the various political parties are talking about things they want to do when they come, especially when it comes to our fiscal structures. What is the way forward for us? Our ballooning debt stock, we're still under a program. How do we get out of this and say that in some way we are reliant on ourselves?
Well, let's start with what the two leading political parties have said they will do. So we've seen a lot of promises, some on jobs, but let's focus on the fiscal. So far, what has been communicated is taxes, some of the taxes that will be removed. We've heard about e-levy, we've heard about COVID-19 levy, we've heard about the betting tax and all. That's all well and good. I am for complete removal of the e-levy. I never thought that we should have had that tax in the first place. But I think when you look at the manifestos that have been put out, it looks like they are rating to win elections. They are not rating to solve our fundamental problems. So we really begin to see what the parties want to do, whichever one emerges, after they've won. Because the manifestos we have, you know, the position we are in now, if you say you are going to remove taxes, you have to propose an alternative. And I'm not saying that the alternative involves another tax. Indeed, if you look at the exemptions we give to foreign multinationals and profitable companies, if we plucked half of that, we wouldn't need some of the taxes that we have. But I think as a country, we need to, take a drastic view about how to manage our finances. There are so many problems with our fiscal management system. There are a lot of loopholes that allows, expenditure controls are very weak. Then we have so much expenditure that we know we are not getting value for. So government spends money and we are not getting the value. It's not specific. It's always been the case. I mean, since I've been an adult, it's always been the case. You have a situation where, let's take an example, during the COVID-19, look at how quickly the private sector mobilized, the private business mobilized, and within a short space of time, they were able to put up a very beautiful facility. And yet, when government has to construct even a health center, we see how much. So I think there are so many problems. There are problems on the revenue side and the expenditure side. On the revenue side, there are a lot of leakages. And then we deliberately give exemptions to friends and family of people in power. So there are problems that have to be solved. Those problems have to be solved. I think for me, what I found disappointing is that in the current IMF program, which by far is the one that has required Ghanaians to make a lot of sacrifices by way of the DDEP, we still absorb all that pain and still allowed things to go on as usual, as if there's nothing happening. So what I expect is that the next administration, whichever one comes, will take the more painful decisions to restructure our public finances, sweep away all those unnecessary exemptions, make government leaner. Thankfully, we've heard both parties say they are going to reduce the size of government, the size of ministers, but we should push them. It's not just about size of ministers. You can have fewer ministers, and yet we have so many appointees, or so many agencies. All of those will still add to the public space. So we need to tell that. Then, so there's the expenditure controls, there's the size of the government, there's making sure that we get value for every cedi we spend. Then the almighty issue is corruption. As for the corruption, I'm happy that we have a governance aspect, because obviously, I mean, many governance people I've spoken to say that it has to start with, curtailing some of the powers of the president, because we have a situation where the president is just too powerful, appointing so many people, and then that is where our problem starts. So you see that there has to be some form of constitutional review to address that part, but there are so many challenges. It's not, unfortunately, it looks like all we do is, let's impose new taxes and collect more revenue. Before the current regime, the current administration used to accuse the previous one of introducing nuisance taxes. Now, it's fair to say that some of the taxes that we've seen since the IMF program are also nuisance taxes. So it's now time for us to, whoever emerges, to sit down and knuckle down and work harder. There are so many areas that we can raise more revenue. But, if you can raise all the revenue we want, if you allow those loopholes to persist, if you allow, you are not getting value for what you spend, then there's no point raising so much revenue. So I think there are a lot of problems that have to be solved. The next administration should also be honest with Ghanaians about the challenges that we have. We have more challenges than we are convincing ourselves. The economy of Ghana is in real deep trouble. And we have to understand as Ghanaians that to get way worse before it gets better.
Well, if we are in deep trouble, we'll get way worse before it gets better. But these two political parties have had a lot to say about the economy. The government in power, seeking to remain in power, says that they will set up a fiscal council, a council that will check our spending responsibly, and also says that it will cede some 3% of our GDP to the private sector, so that private sector can create more jobs. Indeed, more jobs means some more taxes to government. Now the NDC is also saying that 24-hour economy to also boost our private sector. How do we see this, Doc? Like, how would you reconcile all of their promises, all of the nice things they are saying against the realities that we are facing, the realities of things getting worse before it gets better.
So let me start with your point about the fiscal council. It doesn't have any binding powers.
Thank you, boss. See you next week. Yo, where is my passport? Where is my passport? Yo, man, I want to Waba.
What is that?
And then it's special.
Give me my passport.
Relax.
You made me pay for express for 24 hours and yet it's not in.
You come last year telling me this. What's going on? Hello.
This man here has taken my money. That within 24 hours, he'll do my passport for me.
Oh, see, that's the same thing applies to me. He told me last night, he's telling me this week.
This is where the headlines are probed. Policies scrutinized through an objective lens with an unbiased approach to every discussion. Key in to a series of pulsating conversations with the hard questions.
Why do you still want to run when you have failed?
I haven't. What do you mean by failed?
In-depth analysis of policy proposals.
If it is a temporary program, why do we want to still create another gold reserve exchange program also to address a temporary issue.
If you introduce a temporary measure and you realize that the temporary measure works and is sustainable, you have to rethink whether or not it should just be temporary.
And every agenda and positions intellectually debated to set the record straight.
Look, you still don't answer the question now.
Go on.
Question is, if Article 78(1) is anything to go by, your ministers of state largely are supposed to come from the parliament.
Yes.
The law says that not less than 10 and not more than 19. So these are your cabinet, your ministers of state you're going to get. How do you intend to resolve? Have you thought about managing that head-on?
Absolutely. If I hadn't, I probably would not get on the fray to do this.
On Focus on ABC, we focus on the matter, the personality, and the answer beyond the rhetoric. Focus on ABC shows every Thursday at 7 p.m. only on ABC News Ghana television. On December 7, all eyes will be on the nation, and ABC News Ghana television will be your trusted election guide. Welcome to the Poll Center, where we bring you the most comprehensive 2024 general elections coverage.
At ABC News Ghana, we will deliver up-to-the-minute updates from across the 40,647 polling stations, ensuring that you stay informed every step of the way.
We'll bring you real-time updates from constituencies with the highest stakes and insight into the key battlegrounds.
Our team of political watchdogs, pollsters, and political scientists will break down the nuances in the swing regions, helping you understand the dynamics of these critical areas.
With correspondents and district reporters spread across the county, rest assured all the timely report of turn of events as they unfold.
On the Poll Center, we'll bring you an excellent television experience with advanced graphic presentation that will give you a clear visual of the vote tallies, trends, and key turning points as they unfold live on screen.
ABC News Ghana will provide you with in-depth analysis of voter pattern shifts, regional shifts, and what the early results could mean for the final outcome of the elections.
From voting challenges to disputes over election results, ensuring our viewers understand the legal landscape.
On social media, we'll bring you live updates and key highlights from the polling stations, keeping you engaged and informed with the latest developments online.
From the streets to the polling centers, we will capture the voices of everyday Ghanaians, hear their thoughts and concerns as they cast their ballots.
ABC News is committed to unbiased, accurate, and in-depth coverage. Join us on the Poll Center for the most reliable 2024 election coverage.
Stay tuned, stay informed, stay with the Poll Center right here on ABC News Ghana television, your election guide to the polls.
Election Tonight, and we are live on ABC News GH and our sister station MX24. It's a few hours through Election Day and the countdown is officially on. Good evening, this is Social Media Trends on the Poll Center. We're here to bring you up-to-date information and the latest trending opinions, polls and insights on social media from across the country. From your voter expectations to key issues driving conversations online, we'll keep you informed every step of the way. Stay tuned as we track the nation's polls through the lens of social media. Straight into it, we are just going to be looking at a few of the key issues trending today on social media. So we have trending in Ghana, NDC final campaign rally. So let's take a few minutes to look at what is trending with the NDC final campaign rally. Okay, so Alan 2024 here. Just give the presidency to Alan Tremonton and look up these two parties. The NPP said they won't vote. Now they are here coming out to vote. Yanum is scared. Salona says Bawumia is not serious. Bawumia is not an economist. Bawumia is not a digital. Bawumia is not a good leader. Bawumia is not romantic. And Big Somo says Charlie Bawumia make hot for him or Charlie. Red also says your vote is your power. Don't let them fraud you. Vote them out. If you lost your bonds you invested for over 10 years and you struggling in these tough times, you wouldn't think twice. Let's take a few more. Edusai Goblet says the country cast, but people they fear Mahama pass. That be the reality. Jesus is Lord says which Ghanaian in his or her right frame of mind and loves Ghana. Dr. Bawumia. These criminals have this funny idea that Ghanaians are foolish. Albert Nat Hyde says that the fact that MPP is messing up does not in any way suggest that NDC is a better option for the future of Ghana. God amongst men says NPP has not preached about protecting ballot boxes compared to the keen nature of the NDC. Is there something we don't know? Adipa says I've been able to gather 50 of my mates and we are all going to Sunyani to vote for the NPP. It is possible. Okay, a few more before we go. NPP with better policies have disappointed the nation, and as a thinking person, do you think NDC has no better agenda that can revive the nation? At Bongo Ideas, it takes someone who lacks common sense to think NDC will revive hope of Ghanaians. And don't forget to follow us on social media at ABC News GH across all platforms. We took a poll a few days ago concerning your concerns about the social media and how ready you are to hit the polls tomorrow. So these were the results for the polls. And 73%. Okay, so we had the options: very ready, I'll vote; undecided, may vote; not sure if I'll vote; unconcerned, and not voting. So 73% of you voted that you are very ready and you are going to vote. 11% coming in second as unconcerned and not voting. Then we have 10% with undecided, may vote, and 6% not sure if I'll vote. Like I said, follow us at ABC News GH _ to engage with our polls and leave your comments. And again, remember to use our hashtag Vote Not Violence and at the poll center. Tag us, let us know your thoughts and insight. And then we have the next poll. It says, your vote, your voice. What's the #1 issue you are voting for in the upcoming election? Let us know what matters most to you. We had job creation, cost of living, health care, and education. And majority of you voted for cost of living with 42%, And the second coming in with job creation at 31%, and we have education at 27%, and nobody voted for healthcare. Then that's the last poll we have today. Says, how would you rate the current government performance? We have excellent, good, fair, and poor. So 33%, which is the majority, voted for poor. And then in second place, we have excellent with 29%. And then 26% voted for good. And then fair was 12%. Yes. Regarding the oncoming elections, yes, let's take a look at a few training videos.
Our time is coming. And Almighty God, nothing will stop Tornado from this election. Nothing will stop it. Nothing.
7 December, enye na betwaba. MPP for ni bi na omo pese omo dada Ghana for say ebi beto saadai, ebi beto saadai. Saadai na sanko for ni ye no. It's a crime, it's a criminal offense. Na minim say omo party was so nti omo nya omo hwe. But criminal offense any expiry date. NDC ba na na bi ne sanko for no omo yes ano. Ye be che omo tum.
I am going to be very brief. Today is the last but one day in opposition. 7 December, let us all come out and vote.
And we head for the Flagstaff House on Saturday. Let us tell the NPP that the so-called claims on digitalization, there is only one king of digitalization in Ghana. His name is John Dramani Mahama. President Akufo-Addo will not get insurance. He will not get protection from imposing his poodle and his puppet on us. Can you imagine when President Akufo-Addo said he was going to protect the public purse? We didn't know that we will spend all our time protecting the public purse from him. Can you imagine that?
There is absolutely nothing, absolutely nothing that will stop the victory of the NDC come December 7th. No man, no woman, no devil can stop it. Absolutely nothing. The people of Ghana have made up their minds. They've seen the difference between the NDC and the MPP. The people of Ghana are tired with the MPP, with the impunity, with the lawlessness, with the corruption, with the misgovernance, and they are definitely going to vote for the NDC and John Dramani Mahama.
Medofo Lodina Onosome Danase. Ezu Onoso Abwa campaign ne papa. Woshe maternity ward. Bako miensa fefefe a wesi amankrofo enwe ya okoho hohoi ekobie renovated health center Lodina Jamishrao na mienwie ne kofie na
This is still Election Tonight. We are your credible election guide. And before we go, we are going to be looking at a few do's and don'ts for the election tomorrow. Let's watch a video to see how you should vote tomorrow.
We are your poll center. Let us guide you through the process of casting your votes correctly during this election.
First, receiving your ballot paper. The presiding officer will hand you a pre-folded ballot paper. Ensure you receive it correctly folded and stamped as it is handed to you. After you print, carefully fold the ballot paper back the way it was given to you. This prevents your tampering from smearing or smudging.
Once you have your ballot paper, head towards the voting cubicle. If there's a queue, you join and wait your turn. In the cubicle, open the ballot paper carefully. Place your thumbprint in the designated line and vote for your preferred candidate or party. It is advisable to thumbprint horizontally and not vertically to avoid any overlapping.
After you thumbprint, carefully fold the ballot paper back to the way it was handed to you. This prevents your thumbprint from smearing or smudging. When you approach the ballot paper, remember there are two separate boxes, one for the presidential votes, the other for the parliamentary votes. Make sure to place your ballot paper in the correct box. Remember, follow these steps to ensure your vote is valid and properly counted. This is the Poll Center, your credible election guide.
So here at ABC News Ghana, we are your election poll center, your credible election guide. Use the hashtag Vote Not Violence and hashtag The Poll Center. Don't forget to send us all your trending videos at ABC News GH across platforms.
December 7, all eyes will be on the nation, and ABC News Ghana Television will be your trusted election guide. Welcome to the Poll Center, where we bring you the most comprehensive 2024 general elections coverage.
At ABC News Ghana, we will deliver up-to-the-minute updates from across the 40,647 polling stations, ensuring that you stay informed every step of the way.
We'll bring you real-time updates from constituencies with the highest stakes and insight into the key battlegrounds.
Our team of political watchdogs, pollsters, and political scientists will break down the nuances in the swing regions, helping you understand the dynamics of these critical areas.
With correspondents and district reporters spread across the country, rest assured all the timely reports of turn of events as they unfold.
On the Poll Center, we'll bring you an excellent television experience with advanced graphic presentation that will give you a clear visual of the vote tallies, trends, and key turning points as they unfold live on screen.
ABC News Ghana will provide you with in-depth analysis of voter pattern shifts, regional shifts, and what the early results could mean for the final outcome of the elections.
From voting challenges to disputes over election results, ensuring our viewers understand the legal landscape.
On social media, we'll bring you live updates and key highlights from the polling stations, keeping you engaged and informed with the latest developments online.
From the streets to the polling centers, we will capture the voices of everyday Ghanaians, hear their thoughts and concerns as they cast their ballots.
ABC News is committed to unbiased, accurate, and in-depth coverage. Join us on the Poll Center for the most reliable 2024 election coverage.
Stay tuned, stay informed, stay with the Poll Center right here on ABC News Ghana Television, your election guide to the polls.
This is still Election Tonight on ABC News Ghana. We have just less than 24 hours to the December 7th polls, and the stakes are high in these elections. On ABC News Ghana, we promise to bring you all the analysis you need to know ahead of tomorrow's elections. As Ghana head to the December polls, one question has been lingering on the minds of many. What is the stake of Greater Accra in this year's elections? How crucial is this region to the outcome of the December polls? If you look at the previous years, Greater Accra has to some extent determined the winner of Ghanaian elections, have to some extent determined the outcome of Ghana's elections. And this year it is promising, the region Greater Accra is promising to be yet another determiner of who wins the December 7th polls. And I'm here, Samuel Nyimabo, to give you the analysis of the Greater Accra region and what you can expect ahead of the December polls. Like I mentioned, this region has been a swing region over the years. If you look at the from 1992 to 2020 elections, the Greater Accra region remains a swing region, with some NDC winning some of the elections over the previous years. NPP on the other side has had some wins in the Greater Accra region, but ahead of the December polls, stakes are high. People are predicting, polls have come out predicting that the NDC are likely to win this region in the December polls. And if the NDC are able to win the region, it is likely to translate into the general outcome of the elections, and the NDC are likely to win the elections. So I'll be here to give you the analysis you need to know, the trend of votes in the Greater Accra region, and we will also engage a pollster to help us understand how crucial the Greater Accra region is to this year's election. So let's quickly get into the details, get to know how Greater Accra has been in this year's election. But before we get to understand the trend, the pattern of voting, let's connect to our guest on the show today. I am joined by Salam Insia, senior analyst at Global Info Analytics. Hello, Salam. You are welcome to the show.
Hello, Samuel. Good evening.
Good evening, Salam. We just have less than 24 hours to the December 7th polls. Ghanaians at 7 a.m. from tomorrow will be going to the polls. One question that have been on the minds of people is, what weight does Greater Accra carry in this year's elections? You have been doing polls since 2022 up until now. What would you say is the weight of Greater Accra in this year's election?
Yeah, I'll say thanks for having me, and good evening to our viewers. I'll say Greater Accra has a lot of weight as historical trend shows, and it's even having more weight now because currently it's a region with the highest voter population.
Hello, Salam.
Yeah, hello.
Yes,
hello.
If you can hear me, please try and position yourself where we are trying to lose to see you. We are struggling to see you. So please lean a bit forward so that we can see you in full scale. All right.
Is it okay now?
It's still not okay. Please try and adjust yourself a bit so that we can our viewers can have a yeah. I think now it's okay. We can go ahead. You were making your points. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying that Greater Accra has always been crucial, and even more so now that it's having the largest voter population of about close to 20% of the voter population. So Greater Accra will be very important to who wins, how you win, the margin of win, and all that.
You look at the 2020 results.
So basically, whoever, yeah.
I would say that if you look at the 2020 results, if you look at the 2020 elections, the NDC won in the Greater Accra region, but with just a slim margin. They have just over 74,000 votes in that 2020 elections, and even though they won in the region, they didn't win the general elections. And this year, have predicted, Global Info Analytics, you have predicted NDC to win in the Greater Accra region. Are they winning again with a slim margin, or we are going to see the NDC win with a bigger margin this time around?
Per our polling, we expect Greater Accra, we expect NDC to win with a much bigger margin than the 2020. Interestingly, Greater Accra deviated from the normal trend in 2020.
Yeah.
As in, it became the region that did not eventually elect the president. It also shows that, you see, sometimes we make so much of a fuss about maybe winning Central and winning the presidency and all that, but it's all about the margins, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, because MPP lost like 74,000 in Greater Accra, but they made it up in, let's say, Ashanti.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really, it's not about which region you win or how many you win, it's about the margins. The margins is what counts, but the margin is what will show that you pull you ahead or behind.
And this year, your margins.
So in our poll,
this year, what are your margins saying? Are your margins saying the NDC will win big?
Our average is close to 60. I think like between 55 and 60. Yeah.
So the NDC, per your polling,
for the NDC, and
the NDC per your polling are going to win by,
yes, per our polling, NDC
55 to 60% in Greater Accra.
Yes. But let's put it like we expect them to win by a bigger margin than they won in 2020.
A parliamentary election, NPP lose a lot of seats in the 2020 elections within the Greater Accra region. They lost a lot of seats. How is the parliamentary elections also looking like within Greater Accra? Are we going to see the NDC losing some of the seats they won in 2020 and the NPP recouping what they lost in 2020? Or we are going to see the same pattern where the NDC maintains their seat?
Yeah, if in 2020 NDC picked a couple more seats with a smaller margin, right? Then we expect that if the presidency goes with a higher margin, they might also win a bit more seats than they did in 2020. Because generally the parliamentary and the presidential, they don't directly correlate, but they somehow correlate. So you don't see too much skirt and blouse and all that. So once the president's margin is increasing, you expect that it translates into a higher seats win for the NDC.
Right.
And for starters, we don't see our polling doesn't show them losing a seat they are holding. So the worst case is that they might maintain the number. Yes.
But you look at some seats. You mentioned that your polls haven't shown that the NDC will lose the seat they are currently. You look at a seat like the Adenta seat, one seat that hasn't gone beyond 4 years, and no MP has won beyond 4 years in that seat. And you look at the contest that Adamu Ramadan is facing in this year's election. You look at another seat like the Ablekuma Central seat, where Abdul Latif Dan is facing tough contest from Jefferson Saki. You look at Lejikuku as well, the former now Minister for Health, Bernardo Koboy, is in there, coming back to fight for the Lejikuku seat. And despite all these stiff contests we are seeing within the Accra region, you also maintain in this seat.
Yeah. You know, and the Lejikuku seat is a pretty difficult seat for MPP to win. Even in the 2016, when there was a huge wave, you realize that the margin was much more closer than people expected it to be. You know, those seats are, they normally, you say, trends light green, and maybe a bit of toss-up. And in a election year where the Greater Accra margin increases, you don't expect that seats like Lejikuku, maybe Ablekuma Central, and which other one did you mention? Adenta is going to swing the other way. You know, Adenta has been won by NDC, but if I'm not mistaken, they've won like 3 of the last 4 or so. I think Oparamon won, then Wabia Sama won. Aside that, NDC has won since. I think Ashimore won, then Ramadan.
Ramadan. But the thing about Adenta is that no sitting MP has had beyond 4 years. I say that we are likely to see a different trend in the Adenta constituency. Adamu Ramadan gets to retain the seat beyond 4 years.
I think that is probably what's going to happen. You know, the fact that a sitting MP has not retained, but NDC has retained it consecutively. Ashimo won, then Ramadan won, right? Was it? Yeah, I think so. It might be.
Continue.
I think Ashimo won in 2012, right? Then Bobby Asuma won in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Then Ramadan won in 2020. I believe so. Okay, so you realize that NDC wins more than MPP, and it used to. I think pre-2016 we used to see it as a swing, but now we seem to be trending a little bit light green. But let's see how it is. You know, I think the issue with Adenta is the core Adenta, the Adenta flat areas are very MPP, but the outskirts, the Ashie and all those Dodoa, all those areas are normally strong for NDC. So, and if it turned out to be a wave here in Greater Accra, then I don't see how MPP can swing this.
So if you are putting weight to it, you would say that the NDC is likely to maintain their parliamentary majority within the region and also win the presidential elections as well.
Yes, I think the conservative estimate is that they at West they will maintain the number of seats they have. At best, it could really be a good year for them. That is, you know, per our polling, we see quite some seats that normally do not trend green are pretty close, or even NDC is a way ahead. So it all depends on the swing on the day, how both parties get their base to turn out, how the voters swing, and how the undecided break. So let's see.
Just mention it is that Ablekuma Center. You realize the effect or the enthusiasm, the work Jefferson Saki and the NPP is putting in the constituency. That's the large support relative than the incumbent and garnering within the constituency. People are Jefferson will unseat the NP. Per your poll, this seat will still be won by the NDC. Is that so?
Per our poll, NDC likely, I think it's the likely column. It's likely, and because we see that the enthusiasm in the MPP core of the Abosokan spare parts area is a bit down. But if you look at the NDC areas like the Russia, Sukura, and all that, the enthusiasm is pretty high. So maybe that could be why they might win. But Ablekuma Central used to trend MPP, then it became more or less a toss-up. Now it looks like it's trending NDC. You know, in such cases, we shouldn't just look at the seat. We should also look at some kind of demographic changes that is causing the seat to trend one way or the other. So we see it as probably likely NDC. But from the letter, it look like Jefferson is pretty competitive. So maybe it might be closer than 2020. But that is with the caveat that there's the huge swing that we are seeing in the polls does not materialize. If it doesn't materialize, then it's possible that a lot of those marginal seats that MPP lost, they might gain back. Otherwise, if it turned out to be a wave in the Greater Accra, then all the marginal seats might be difficult for MPP to hold or to take back.
If now Greater Accra is like a buffer stock in terms of votes for parties. Now, in the current circumstances, it has the highest number of voters within the regions. It leads with over 3 million votes, followed by the Ashanti region, then to the eastern and the northern parts of the country. If you look at the way that political parties are putting in the Greater Accra region, especially the NPP, they have some the Greater Accra region. Looking at the number of votes they want this region to win is in Greater Accra 1.2 million votes within the Greater Accra region. Even if the NDC lose and they are able to manage to win a lot of votes in the Greater Accra region, wouldn't that be still substantial in winning the general elections? Hello, Salam.
The line was breaking up a little, but I suppose you are talking about. Yes, hello.
Yes, I was asking that if you look at the number of votes within the Greater Accra region, numbering over 3 million votes. Okay. Now, for a party to win in the Greater Accra region, he needs over 1 million votes to win within the region, somewhere 1.5, 1.7 million. Even if you lose, let's say the NPP lose in this region, and they're able to amass a certain amount of vote in terms of the nominal values, wouldn't that still be substantial in their quest to win the general elections?
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, you know, MPP can make do with losing Greater Accra narrowly, okay, and making up the numbers in, let's say, Ashanti. But NDC, because Ashanti has some kind of advantage, you know, Ashanti can account for about all the northern votes and about Volta, right? So NDC needs to increase their margins in, let's say, Greater Accra, so that they can be able to cut through the margins that's likely to be made up by MPP in Ashanti. Then they can also rack up their margins in Volta and the northern for them to be able to win. So generally, the map generally favors MPP on the face of it, but that is assuming you don't factor in turnout, you don't factor in margin of wins and all that. But just by the fact that Ashanti has, like, I think 3.5 million voters, Greater Accra has 3.7. But Greater Accra, the difference between Greater Accra and Ashanti is that Greater Accra is a swing, Ashanti is a stronghold
of the NPP.
But the issue is, what margin would they be able to win by to make up for the losses they might make in other regions?
One thing you have mentioned, which just gets my attention, is voter turnout. Now, you've realized over the years that voter turnout matters in terms of elections and how a political party is able to make. For the NPP, if they have a good voter turnout in the Ashanti region, that means good news for the party. In terms of the Greater Accra region, how are we voter turnout? Are we like to see voter party? And if that is the case, who will suffer? Is it going to be the NPP or the NDC?
Okay, per polling, of course, our average turnout we are projecting is like 77.6. So we expect like at least 70% turnout in each region, right? I think Greater Accra, yeah, I think, you see, in our poll, we see more of MPP people having a higher apathy than NDC. And maybe, so in case there's a lower turnout, it might affect a little bit MPP than a little bit of floating voters, okay? So, and the floating voter, we see NDC doing better than MPP. So if the turnout in terms of floating voters reduces in Greater Accra for floating voters, it means it will impact NDC. So both of them could be at risk in terms of lower turnout, but it depends on who is not turning out. Is it the MPP people or the floating voters?
Now let's come to yesterday's final rallies and what the party saw with the for which reason they brought the final rallies to the Greater Accra region. You saw the NPP hold theirs at the Legon campus. The NDC went to the Medina constituency. Has any of the parties been able to use their final rally, any impression, a good impression for themselves in the Accra region, for which reason they are likely to show up their votes?
Well, we've not done polling after, we've not picked any sentence, but just from my observation, I see that NDC going to Medina, if it is trying to show up the constituency, then I don't see see that is really a very I wonder why they would do it in Medina if it is the case that they are afraid they cannot hold Medina. Otherwise, if the case that they are shoring up votes in Greater Accra, that's fine, because Medina looks pretty okay for them. Now, MPP at also West.
Right, we are still trying to engage. We are still trying to engage Salam Insia, who is a senior analyst at Global Investors, and he's been helping us understand the weight Greater Accra carries on this year's elections. Like I mentioned, we just have a few hours to get December polls and election tonight. Today, we are trying to understand what each region brings to the polls. You realize that the NPP and the NDC brought their final rallies to the Greater Accra region, which symbolize the significance they are placing on Greater Accra. So we are trying to get to understand what Accra is looking like. Is it going to be green or blue tomorrow? It's likely to win, and will the win translate into the final outcome, into the result of the final elections? Meaning that if you win Greater Accra, you're going to win elections. So that's what we are trying to understand, and I understand Salam Insia is back on the line. Hello, Salam. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
You are trying to make the point on the final rallies, and you were on the NPP side going to the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency, specifically at the Legon campus, to hold their final rally.
Yes, I was saying that per what we see in the polls, it looks like Ayawaso is trending from blue to swing, sort of toss up. So probably, maybe they might have also picked it up in their polls, and they want to, much as they want to show up in Greater Accra, they might also want to show up in the region, in that constituency. So now the issue about Ayawaso West, we want to now see how the COVID in 2020 affected the MPP votes, because generally we know that the university votes generally trends and MPP. Now during the COVID, because of the restrictions and all that, I think during the registration they didn't register in school, so they couldn't get them to vote there. I'm not sure. We will see how, maybe whether the parliamentary candidate of NDC is able to make inroads into that MPP heartland of university students. So we will see. But that seat doesn't look too comfortable for MPP. So probably it makes sense, or probably they had it at the back of their mind in choosing that place to hold their final rally.
Hello, Salam. So I was asking. So it was time. It means that it was timely for the NPP to go and hold their final rallies at Legon. And despite people thought that they could have gone to the northern part of the country. If you look at what the two candidates, the leading candidates, they are all from the north, and people believe that the contest really would have been in the northern part. Do you think that if any of the parties had gone to the northern part of the country to hold their final rallies, that could have made any bigger impression than what they did in Greater Accra?
Well, I don't know what their strategies are, but I'm sure maybe they are looking at the numbers, right? They are looking at fighting for a chunk of the 3.7 million in Accra. Maybe holding the north, maybe they both see that they are both competitive there. So maybe, but I think we also tend to overrate the impact of a rally at a particular place at a moment in time. You know, sometimes to just create an enthusiasm for a while, if it's not sustained with a follow-up and all that, it might not be worthwhile. So the fact that they are not there doesn't necessarily mean they are prioritizing less. You say the final rally can only be at one place, and choosing it, they factor in a lot of things. You know, Greater Accra, probably to the other reason, most of the big wigs are here. So it's easier to get them, to mobilize them to come for a rally than maybe the other federal regions outside Accra.
Right, Salam.
So I think final rallies can be a bit overrated, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Salam, for joining us on today's show on Election Tonight to have an engagement on the Greater Accra region. That is Salam Insia, who is a senior analyst at the at the global info analysis. So let's get to understand what really the Greater Accra region has been like in terms of vote within the past years, within the previous elections, starting from 1992. So let's get to understand the trend of voting pattern within the region. Now, if you look at the region, like I mentioned, it remained one of the swing regions until that 2020 elections, where the NPP, despite losing in the region, still went ahead to win the general elections. However, if you look at previous elections, any party who won in the Greater Accra region was automatically going to win in the elections. If you look at the elections in 1996, when the NDC won in the Greater Accra region, they went ahead to win the elections. Now, in 2000 and 2004, the NPP won in the Greater Accra region and went ahead to win the elections. In 2008 and 2012, the NDC came back to win in the Greater Accra region, then went ahead to win the elections. In 2016, the NPP won in the Greater Accra region, then went ahead to win the elections. The only exception to the rule in terms of Greater Accra was in that 2020 elections, when the NDC won the region but failed to win the general election. So does that take away the swing nature, the impact Greater Accra has on the elections? If it means, does that make it more like any of the other region, that if you could still win in that region and not win the elections? Like Salam mentioned, it is about the margins, it is about the vote difference that you amass within the Greater Accra region. So this year's elections will be crucial. It will either go to maintain or go back to the previous swing nature, where you win in the region and win in the general elections, or it will go back, or it will maintain the 2020 trend where we saw NDC winning but losing in the general election. So whoever party wins in this region, to win the elections, you need to win maximum vote here and win by a very big margin, if you look at what both parties have done. So let's quickly get to understand the differences in the vote in terms of the Greater Accra region, starting from 96. You look at the vote Jerry John Rawlings had in the 96 elections, coming back to 92 all the way to 2020, and you will realize that with the exception of that 2020 result, any party that won in the Greater Accra region won with a bigger margin, which translated into a big win, or into the win for the party in the general elections. However, in that 2020, because the NDC only won with 74,000 plus votes, they were not able to win the general elections. So in 2024, just tomorrow, whoever wins big in Greater Accra region is likely to win in this year's elections, and that is what the stakes are looking like in the Greater Accra region. And we will try to understand and further what you can expect within the region. But now let us cross over to another very interesting region, another very interesting region that we want to keep our eyes on. Now we will cross over to the Ashanti region, where things are shaping up very seriously ahead of tomorrow polls. The NPP wants about 80% of votes within the Ashanti region. The NDC, on the other hand, are looking to get at least 30% vote within the region. So it's about who wins big within the Ashanti. We know that our region remains a stronghold of the New Patriotic Party, so they will by all means win in the region. But the margins is what we want to keep our eyes on, and I'm joined by our correspondent in the region, Fatal Payaga, joins me from the Ashanti region. Hello, Fatal, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Right, we are a few hours, if I'm checking my time correctly, we are about less than 15 hours to the polls, just less than even 15 hours to the polls. How is the region, Ashanti region, shaping up ahead of tomorrow polls from both parties? What are they doing?
Yes, so the Ashanti region is getting ready for the 2024 general elections, which will be happening tomorrow. The two parties themselves, even before before we get to the day, the parties have been holding press conferences and counter press conferences and all of that.
We understand understand that the NDC press conference was disrupted in the region. What was the situation there?
Yes, so this afternoon we picked up information, or we saw a circular that the NDC was going to hold an emergency press conference at its regional head office. So journalists moved straight to the NDC's head regional office to monitor that particular press conference. So the national organizer of the party, Joseph Yamin, he himself was there with some other regional executives. So as they were about to address the press, and they said that this particular press conference was to address some security-related issues within the Ashanti region. So when they were about addressing the press conference, some people purported to be members of the NDC stormed the hall where the press conference was ongoing, and they disrupted the press conference, and some of them were shouting and saying that the party is not doing enough to ensure that they address the security issues within the Ashanti region. They say that they have picked information that some security or military men have been sent to about 34 constituencies within the Ashanti region, which is a very big worry to them. But it appears the party isn't doing enough to ensure that these particular security, alleged security military officials who have been sent to this region probably the party did not really do enough to ensure that the government doesn't bring security officials to the region to, in a way, intimidate voters and all of that. And they were just holding press conferences and all of that. So they told the regional executives that press conferences are not needed. They need the leaders of the party to go into the ground, make sure that they practically ensure that these military officials are withdrawn from the constituencies that they suspect they have been sent to.
Fatah, what you are saying to us is that the attack was purported, was perpetrated by alleged NDC sympathizers, supporters of the National Democratic Congress within the region, who believe that the regional executives are not doing enough to ensure that there's safety within the region in terms of election security ahead of tomorrow.
Absolutely. So they are basically saying that the government has allegedly sent some military officials to the Ashanti region. And they say that these military officials were sent in, or they drove in vehicles that you cannot really identify. But they have actually seen that military officials have been deployed to some 32 constituencies within the Ashanti region. And for them, they are saying that this particular step by the government probably would help the military officials to intimidate voters, and probably that would affect the chances of the opposition party in the Ashanti region. So they were expecting the NDC leadership to practically step in and ensure that these military officials were withdrawn. But they are not seeing that. The party is rather focusing on press conferences, which they say isn't needed at this moment. They want them to practically execute this particular step.
So what was the response of the regional executives of the NDC? What was their response?
Yeah, so the journalists tried to get response from the NDC, but they did not comment on the issue as of now, right? But generally, the supporters were not happy with what it's happening. We tried to get response from the NDC leaders within the region, but as of now, we cannot. There's nothing that we can put out there that is attributed to the leadership.
They are basically tight-lipped about the whole situation.
Absolutely.
So now let's get to tomorrow's elections proper. You've mentioned the issue of security, which the NDC supporters are alleging that the government is bringing in some security personnel to disrupt the elections. The NDC, on the other hand, have remained resolute. They said that they will watch the polls from the beginning to the end. They will police the elections. Looking at this whole situation and how people within the NDC are unhappy, how is that likely to play out in tomorrow's polls? Are we likely to see more aggrieved NDC members within the region?
Yes, so if you look at the NDC supporters, they are generally not happy with what their leadership is doing here in the Ashanti region, and for many that is a cause I mean, that's a cause of worry for many people here within the Ashanti region, right? But because tensions are high, if you look at some of the constituencies, right, the even within the Aswasi constituency itself, that the NDC is trying to retain, but with the emergence of another person who is widely known within the constituency, Manaf Ibrahim, there seems to be, some kind of uncertainty within the NDC ranks, right? So they are doing everything possible to retain that particular seat. And apart from that, they are also trying to clinch some other seats, particularly if you look at the Offensive North constituency. It's a constituency that the gap was very, very close during the 2020 election. It was 1,000 votes difference. And the NDC is saying that this year they are going to clinch that seat. So if you go to the Hafano Southwest constituency, that's the Mankrasu area, the NDC is hoping to clinch that seat too. Right? So looking at all of these constituencies and what the NDC is hoping to get within the Ashanti region, they are saying that if the leadership of the party doesn't take steps to prevent any step that would manipulate the election, then it might be difficult for them to get the votes that they are looking for, and also the seats that they are expecting to get within the Ashanti region.
Right. Fatal, now the Electoral Commission, the Electoral Commissioner herself today has been addressing the media and Ghanaians ahead of the elections, promising that they will do everything within their resolve to make sure that the elections are free, fair, and transparent. What is the situation in terms of electoral materials within the Ashanti region? Are the materials ready? Is everything on set for tomorrow's elections, or we are seeing issues of shortages of electoral materials?
So the original EC boss spoke to the media, and he said that everything is set here in the Ashanti region. Ballot materials, all the election materials have been sent to all the constituencies across the region, and all their officials too are ready for the election to happen tomorrow. So from the the Ashanti regional EC boss, he is saying that everything is set, and the EC itself, they are ready to ensure that the election happens tomorrow here in the Ashanti region.
Very much, Fatal, for joining us with that timely report in the Ashanti region. Now, Ashanti region remains one key constituency that ABC News Ghana will keep our eyes on. From tomorrow till the time elections are declared in that region, things will happen. Things will unfold within the region. It's one region that you will expect things to happen, things to unfold. And ABC News Ghana have you covered on all the things that you need to know happening within the Ashanti region. We will see whether the NPP gets to win the 80% vote they are looking for in the region, or the NDC gets to win the 30% vote they are also trying to amass. In any case, the NPP are looking to win 47 seats, to win all seats within the Ashanti region, a very ambitious dream. As it stands now, they hold 44 of the seats, one to the independent candidate in Fomena and two other to the National Democratic Congress in the Sawasi constituency and New Edubiasi constituency. We'll get to see which party makes inroads within the region. NPP, will they extend their trend or their dominance in the party or in the region by winning all seats, or the NDC gets to make a bit of inroads within the region? It's one that we'll keep our eyes on. Now, let's get back to our analysis of the various regions. And we're on Greater Accra before we went for that report on Ashanti region. Greater Accra, like I was mentioning, is one of the regions that whoever wins big, not just winning, as we saw in 2020, just winning doesn't win you the general elections. And this is one, but with just a slim victory of somewhere 74% vote difference. Whoever wins within that Greater Accra region is big, wins the elections, and all eyes will be on Greater Accra in this year's elections. From tomorrow, we'll ensure that we bring you all the updates you need from the elections, from the time the elections begins to the time polls will end and voting and collation will start, to the point where counting and the announcement of the election results will come. ABC News Ghana will give you all the updates you need. Now, we are also joined by on the line by our Volta regional correspondent, another region that we will have our eyes on, because Volta is, we know, the stronghold of the NDC, but it has also been a region that the margins matter. We'll get to see who gets the biggest margin in the constituent, in the region, and we are joined by Kofi Gamo in the Volta region, who joins us to give us update as what is happening in the region. You are welcome to the show, Kofi.
Thank you for having me.
Right now, Kofi, kindly tell us, what is the mood like in the Volta region ahead of tomorrow polls? We have barely a few hours to the polls. What is the mood like in the region?
Well, generally the mood ahead of the elections in the Volta region here is not quite different from how it is in other parts of the country. The people of the Volta region are highly in anticipation of the polls tomorrow. We have seen throughout this week, the very final week before the elections, the political parties intensifying their campaigns here in the Volta region, and of course across the length and breadth of the region. And so, to put it simply and shortly, this is exactly the mood here in the Volta region. Not a lot is actually happening today. If you look at the fact that the campaigns officially ended yesterday, and so of course just the day or the eve of the elections, we know the political parties will be busy themselves doing their own underground campaigns and trying to talk to voters, just to try to woo them last minute to vote in favor of their parties and their candidates. And so this, according to some of the people that I spoke to earlier in the day, is exactly what is happening across the major political parties here in the Volta region. Of course, just as we mentioned earlier, the Volta region is a stronghold of the NDC, and since 1992, when the country reverted or started this democratic rule, it's always been a green region for the NDC until the last elections 2020, where the NPP actually took a seat, that is a Hohoi seat. And so the party has been trying to get those strongholds, especially in the Hohoi seat. They have been trying so much to get that seat back into its fold, and also try to increase its vote margin, especially comparing them to 2016 and 2020. And so basically, that is exactly what is happening there. If you compare the activities of the opposition NDC to those of the NPP, you realize that the NDC has actually been more active in terms of how they're actually campaigning here in the Volta region as compared to the NPP. That probably because of the fact that historically the region hasn't actually favored the party in terms of votes, and so that may also explain the low level of activism on the part of the NPP. But of course, on the part of the NDC, they are not only trying to ensure that many people in the Volta region actually come out to vote in their numbers, but of course also tries to increase their vote margin as far as the 2020 election results, for instance, here in the Volta region is concerned. So basically, this is what is happening. We are all anticipating how the things would actually be panning out tomorrow, right from 7 until the very last ballots are counted and probably declared officially.
Volta region is, over the years, we've seen from 2016 2020, we've seen a drop in the percentage of votes the NDC gets in the Volta region. The party hasn't gotten the 90 percentage point mark since 1996. After that elections where J.J. Rawlings won with over 90% in the region. They have been struggling very much to get 90% again in the region. Per what you are monitoring, is the NDC ready to hit the 90 percentage point mark? Or we are likely to see the NPP make inroads with, especially that Hohoi constituency where the current Minister for Railway is the NP for the area?
Well, for instance, taking it back from 2016, we also the level of apathy that we saw, on the part of the Volta regional voters in that election, and of course, seeing that the region has always been favoring the NDC in terms of votes. Whenever such concerns actually come up in terms of apathy, you know definitely the impact on the NDC will be more as compared to the NPP. People, the issue is that For instance, here in the Volta region, the NPP doesn't have anything to lose. But of course, if the NDC, which of course has touted the region over the years as one of as its stronghold, is unable to maybe get that stronghold on the voters, definitely then it will mean that when apathy sets in on the part of voters, it will definitely be more impactful, negatively impactful on the NDC as compared to the NPP. Now, that voter apathy, based on that we saw in 2016, based on the work that the party has actually been able to do between then and 2020, we saw a marginal increase in the vote that the party actually obtained here in the Volta region. Quite unfortunately, just I don't have the figures right in front of me to actually take you through those figures, but the general impression has been that comparing 2020 to 2016, the NDC did better in 2020 as compared to that 2016. Now, we also heard a few weeks ago when the general secretary of the party came here, targeting an ambitious 95% to actually be what the party is actually looking at getting here, obtaining here in the Volta regional vote generally, as compared to what they got in 2020 and 2016 before. And so basically, this is the target of the party. As to whether this target would actually be met is another issue. But for now, this is what they are targeting. The NPP is also targeting some 500,000 votes, a very ambitious target that they have actually set for themselves for this year. If you look at the numbers that they actually did in 2020, they did a little over 100,000 votes across the Volta region. Now they are actually looking at 500,000 plus votes in the Volta region. The question that comes to mind when you look at some of these targets and the numbers that they're actually putting out is as to whether, for instance, the NPP would actually be able to make that huge increase or shore up their votes in the Volta region if you compare what they had in 2020 to what they are actually targeting in 2025, which of course, in 2024, which of course is a 500,000 votes as compared to a little over 100,000 that they did in 2020. And so basically, this is it. So again, it goes back to the point about the answer to this question lying in the woods of time that after the elections,
then we'll get to know.
Elections, I would actually be able to tell as to whether this target will be met or not.
It is only after the elections that we'll get to understand whether the NDC will get the 90 or 95% points they are looking for, or the NPP will get the 500,000 votes they are looking for in the Volta region. But finally, before you leave, you touch on the issue of voter apathy. Are we likely to see the 2016 issue where people in the Volta region decided not to come out and vote?
Well, if you ask about whether we are likely, to see the voter apathy at the level that we saw in 2016, in 2024 again, I shudder to say we may not see that. We may not see that as a result of the fact that, the Volta region here, apart from the fact that it's always been a stronghold of the NDC, there is a huge discontent in the minds of the people against the ruling party as we speak, of course. And if you look at the issue of living standards in the Volta region, it is no different from what the concerns that many other people from other regions have expressed over the years. And so if you ask about whether we will see that apathy, I am not actually expecting that, and even if that may actually set in, it may be as a result of, a lack of confidence or lack of trust in these two political parties, especially the NDC, as to whether they would actually be really committed to ensuring that the promises that they've actually sold out to the people of this country in their manifesto will really be kept to, and for that matter implemented, or the alternative, which of course is the NPP, would actually come in here and also make some gains. But for that one, I am not aware, because again, on the issue of Kokwe, the two parties have actually been very actively involved in the campaign. But just as I mentioned earlier, if you want to rate the intensity and the activism of the two parties, then of course I'll be giving that one to the NDC. Mostly because of the fact that in 2020, some of the concerns that the people of Hokwe actually, raised when it came to how the party lost the seat in the Hokwe was as a result of a number of things or actions that were actually taken, or strategies that were actually deployed by the candidate then John Pitamo, who is now the MP, to do a lot of things, including busing people allegedly from areas where the people were not originally voters into Hope to actually come in and vote, and just to show the numbers. And so if you look at that in comparison to many other developments in the Volta region, I am not expecting that level of apathy to greet the polls again this time around in the Volta region.
All right. Thank you very much, Kofi, from the Volta region, giving us that timely report on what we expect in the Volta region. He's saying per sentiment within the region, the voters will likely troop up in their numbers to vote this time around, unlike what we saw in 2016, where there was massive voter apathy in the region. As it stands now, the party, the NDC in the bring the people out to vote tomorrow, and we go Volta region tomorrow to gather what happens in as the nation go to the polls from 7 a.m. tomorrow. You can keep your dial on ABC News Ghana to give you the report of what is happening across all the regions, the 16 regions of the country, and we will be here to give you that report and those analysis that you need. Now on ABC News Ghana, we continue to say that it is vote not violence. As the nation heads to the polls, we advocate for peace and nothing else but peace. Let us go out there and vote in our numbers as we can. Vote with your thumb and don't engage in any violence. Do not indulge in any form of violence, and we will be trying our possible best as a nation to keep the peace that we've enjoyed in the last 32 years of this young democracy. Let us not go out there and spoil it for anything, not even for political affiliation. And that is how we would wrap it up here with me, Samuel Nimabu. Let's go for a quick break. We'll come back to continue after this session, and we'll get to understand other analysis that you will need to know for tomorrow, what you can expect tomorrow ahead of the elections. This still remains election tonight on ABC News Ghana.
December 7, all eyes will be on the nation, and ABC News Ghana Television will be your trusted election guide. Welcome to the Poll Center, where we bring you the most comprehensive 2024 general elections coverage.
At ABC News Ghana, we will deliver up-to-the-minute updates from across the 40,647 polling stations, ensuring that you stay informed every step of the way.
We'll bring you real-time updates from constituencies with the highest stakes and insight into the key battlegrounds.
Our team of political watchdogs, pollsters, and political scientists will break down the nuances in the swing regions, helping you understand the dynamics of these critical areas.
With correspondents and district reporters spread across the county, rest assured all the timely report of turn of events as they unfold.
On the Poll Center, we'll bring you an excellent television experience with advanced graphic presentation that will give you a clear visual of the vote tallies, trends, and key turning points as they unfold live on screen.
ABC News Ghana will provide you with in-depth analysis of voter pattern shifts, regional shifts, and what the early results could mean for the final outcome of the elections.
From voting challenges to disputes over election results, ensuring our viewers understand the legal landscape.
On social media, we'll bring you live updates and key highlights from the polling stations, keeping you engaged and informed with the latest developments online.
From the streets to the polling centers, we will capture the voices of everyday Ghanaians, hear their thoughts and concerns as they cast their ballots.
ABC News is committed to unbiased, accurate, and in-depth coverage. Join us on the Poll Center for the most reliable 2024 election coverage.
Stay tuned, stay informed, stay with the Poll Center right here on ABC News Ghana Television, your election guide to the polls. On December 7, all eyes will be on the nation, and ABC News Ghana Television will be your trusted election guide. Welcome to the Poll Center, where we bring you the most comprehensive 2024 general elections coverage.
We are currently here at Kanishi.
When the news breaks, we are there. In the heart of matters arising, we follow through with the right question. Don't miss a beat with our in-depth news analysis. From breaking news, special feature stories, latest news, we bring you the stories that matter. Our team of immersed reporters bring you the news as it happens. Join us every 6 a.m., 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. each day for a comprehensive look at the stories beyond the headlines.
You're watching ABC News GH.
ABC News GH, your trusted source for news.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
To you for joining us here tonight on Election Tonight, the eve before the elections. Ghana goes to the polls tomorrow to select for ourselves who leads the nation and also representatives in parliament. Tomorrow, when you go to the polls, follow the due process, and when you're done, please come home and follow on ABC News GH, where we'll bring you everything you need to know about the elections. We are your poll center, your credible election guide, and here we advocate for votes and not violence. Tomorrow we will go to the polls. All that is needed needed is your thumb and your thumb only. Don't be allowed or don't allow yourself to be used as a tool for violence. Please and please again, the peace of the nation hinges on you and I, and we will do well to protect the peace of the nation. Tomorrow will come your way again with more conversations on the elections, so you don't want to change your TV from here. Don't change the channel. Keep watching us here on ABC News GH. Our website